Crime at 9. Ooh, once again, Harry Hole. Do you know what, my friends? I just filmed a video, which was this video, but in its previous incarnation, and I was rambling on, and I don't know where the time went, and then my phone rang, and I answered the phone, and it completely, I lost my train of thought. So I've decided to just start again, but this time my aim is to be more succinct. We shall see. Hello, my friends, welcome back to my channel. It is Mike here once again. Ooh, once again. And today's video is video number 4 in my first 100 series. I will link the other ones downstairs. Today I'm going to be talking about my current rereading book, which is The Thirst by Jo Nesbo, which is the new Harry Hole thriller. And I have since learnt that it's not pronounced Hole in Norway. I don't know how it's pronounced, I'm not even going to try, but to me, he will always be Harry Hole for the comedy value, really. So, Hole, and so I'm going to talk about the little, I've got like some, I'm looking down because I have some prompts, because otherwise I wander off. So, today is the first 100 pages of The Thirst. So a little bit of brief background about The Thirst. I bought this on a whim on my lunch hour in WHSmiths because it was cheap, quite frankly, and I've read The Snowman, which is number 7 in kind of the Harry Hole saga, and this is number 11. So yeah, I know I'm not reading them in exactly the order that was intended, 7, 11, but I don't think it's too important. I mean, Harry is the detective in these novels, and it is charting his life, but it's sort of more about the crime than it is about his personal life, but his personal life is sort of surrounding it, which of course is how it should be, but you can jump in and you can enjoy the current crime that he's investigating, so it's not so bad. So I bought this a little while ago. It's been sitting on my shelf. I've read a lot of YA recently, and I really wanted a completely different tone, and I got it with this. This is a very different mood, and so I'm going to start. I normally talk about the plot first, but I'm just going to talk about something else. It's kind of like its format and style. So the book actually, it opens, it's quite cool. The book has got, first of all, a picture of Jo Nesbo there, and a little description about him, which I always find interesting. And then it's got Harry Hole's stats, which is quite cool because it's quite nice, to know what he looks like, because he doesn't go into detail. His writing style isn't very isn't that descriptive, about the hair and the eye colour and things, unless it's important to the plot. But you know what Harry looks like, so hasn't got to describe him again, which is brilliant. And then you get a map of Oslo, which I love a map in a book. This one doesn't really help me. I don't know why, it doesn't float my boat, but it's there, and that's great. And so this version from WHSmiths at the front has 2 little introductions by Richard and Judy. One obviously by Richard and one by Judy, and it's I read them as well, and that's where I learnt that it's not pronounced Hole. Does he say here how it's pronounced? I'm not gonna try. Oh yeah, Hule. Harry Hole, Harry Hole, Harry Hole, Harry Hole. Anyway, stopping now. So yeah, and then there's I have to be honest with you, my YouTube buddies, that I opened this book in the shop, as I always do, and I always read the first sentence, the first little bit, and I want to see whether I'm going to be interested in this book. And it says here, he stared into the white nothingness, the way he had done for almost 3 years. No one saw him, and he saw no one, apart from each time the door opened and enough steam was sucked out for him to be able to glimpse a naked man for a brief moment before the door closed and everything was shrouded in fog. And I was like, it's in the baths, it's in a steam room. Having that. So yes, that's sort of the form. It's not really in first person, it is in third person, but he does jump around with perspectives quite a lot. You're in different people's heads, so you're getting a broad picture of what's happening, which I do like, and I think that's good because it's a bit more grown up, a bit more complicated, and that's what I needed for this next read. And something else which is significant in terms of the kind of style of the book, it is in real time. If you've not read any kind of crime novels before, what's quite nice about them is the crime happens and the investigation tends to be then in real time. This one, there's no chapter headings, it's just like Friday morning, then Friday afternoon, and it takes you through the whole solving of the mystery. I quite like that. There's something really nice about reading something methodical in the order in which it actually happened for the police officers. So I do like that too, and I needed something that kind of, I don't know what the word is, just simple in a way, but almost monotonous. I mean that like in such a good way, in that you get to see the Monday morning and you're like, well, why is this significant? And the Monday afternoon and you're like, well, why is this significant? And it's all significant. And the thing about noir, and especially on telly at the minute, it is a bit drawn out in a good way. You know, you get shots of the scenery and then driving places, then you get to see people walking up the stairs, which in normal drama you'd cut. You know, on the telly, you wouldn't watch someone walking up the stairs, but the whole walking up the stairs process is sort of adds to the mood of the kind of bleakness, and that's what this is in a good way. So yeah, I'm gonna stop style now. That style. Okay, so in terms of plot then, so it opens with a murder, surprisingly. Quite a gruesome murder this time. There's a lady on a Tinder date, and she isn't really feeling the date, so she leaves, and she thinks she's being followed home, so she runs. She goes into her flat and she chains the door shut, and she's in there and she's sort of relieved, thinks, okay, thank the Lord, I was being silly, it's okay. But it turns out she's not alone in the flat. There is somebody in her bedroom. She goes into the bedroom and there's a man lying on her bed, and she panics and she freaks out and she runs, but the door is locked and chained and she can't get out, and he grabs her from behind and holds her really, really tight here, and I think it's in front of a mirror, and she's watching herself sort of like almost be crushed, and he bites her neck, but in his mouth he has like mechanical fangs. They're described as being like like a bear trap, you know, in the woods, and it's like hinged. It's described like that, and he bites in her neck and she bleeds to death on him, and he arranges the body on the bed for the police to find, and that's the first murder. I say first as if there's more. I'm assuming there's going to be more, but in the first 100 pages there hasn't been. So it was gross, and it was quite chilling and quite scary. And all these things are what you want from a crime detective novel. Crime at 9. Then you start following the investigation then, and you're not with Harry, you're with an investigator called Katrine, and she is quite sort of ballsy, and she's trying to be in charge. I think it's one of her first her first time leading an investigation, so she is trying to do things right but get things done well, and she's under a lot of pressure from her boss, the chief of police, because he's got political aspirations, and he wants to catch the killer so that his political career can move forward, but he's being because he actually blackmails Harry, who has retired from the force, and he is teaching in like a police academy, and he blackmails Harry to come back to help with the investigation, because the investigation looks like it's going to be very complicated, and there isn't very much evidence, and it's a tricky one. So he wants the win, but he blackmails Harry to come back, so he is and then Katrine and Harry have a history, and I suppose if I'd read the books in order, I would probably know what that history was, but I can't remember it. That's my fault, but there we go. So Katrine and Harry, at the end of the 100 pages, are now together, and they're about to start working on the investigation. So that's kind of what's happening in plot. Really, really good. In terms of characters then, you know, you're with Katrine a lot, you're with Harry a little bit towards the end of the 100 pages. It takes like 80 pages for him to come into it. And then you get a bit about the killer. And because Jo Nesbo writes from the perspective of different people, you do actually get to be inside the killer's head as well, which is quite disturbing. but in a good way. So you've got, that's interesting. I'm enjoying those bits, but it's sort of, you have to use your head when you're reading this novel, because when it does jump to the next perspective, you're like, wait, what's happening now? Because it's different being inside the killer's head than it is being in a normal person's head. Yeah. So my thoughts and feelings are, I'm so pleased I picked this up, because I read the first chapter with the death, and I was like, oh no. I started reading the investigation stuff about Katrine, and I was like, I don't know what's happening here with these people. Maybe I should go back and read these books in order. And then I thought, well, but then I've got to go back and read number 1, and this is book 11, and like, that's hell of an investment, and I will get there one day. But right now I was like, no. And the actual death intrigued me so much that I was like, I have to continue reading. So that's got to be good. That must mean something positive, that it's written in such a way that, yeah, it gripped me straight away. And lovely to be in a novel again where there is swearing, where there is nudity, where there is sex, where there is murder. It's nice to be in a grown-up world after being in a YA world for so long. It is lovely. It's a lovely feeling. It was bizarre though, because you're in the sauna at the beginning, and then about 3 pages in, he says the word cock. He does. He says it, and I was like, oh gosh. I am not in a little woods reading about fairies anymore, am I? I am somewhere else. So, but I was chuffed for that, and I'm happy that it is what it is, and it's fitting my mood right now, and especially because at the moment we are still in August, but it's gone very grey and drizzly, much like Oslo. So it's just fitting me right now, and I'm really enjoying it. It's big, okay? It's over 600 pages long, but that's okay. And then, what else have I got to talk about? Where I think the book is going. I think it's going to some grim places. I think there's going to be a good few murders. I think there's going to be... it's the last Jo Nesbo book, I remember it meanders around quite a lot. To lots of different places with names that I can't pronounce, filled with people with names I can't pronounce. And then I have to try and remember how to pronounce them and who they are and what significance they have. So I do have to use my wits about me when I'm reading this. But it meandered around a lot until it got to the climax last time, and I was like, whoa, and it got really, really gripping, and I'm hoping this is going to do the same. And I do just love this idea of, it's not a vampire, but it's somebody using fangs to drain blood as a murder. For murder, as a murderer. So it has intrigued me. It's really gripped me so far. I'm slightly more than 100 pages in now, but that's why I stopped and recorded this video for you. Albeit this is my second time round. So that's how I feel, guys, and I'm really enjoying it, and yay. Have you read any Harry Hole books? Any Jo Nesbo thrillers? Please let me know if you have and what you think. And if you've read the Harry Hole books, please recommend to me in the comments below which ones you would recommend me read next, because obviously I'm reading them out of sync. And has anybody else done this, or has anybody read them in order? Is it significantly different if I read them in order? Will it be worth me doing that, or does it not matter? If I find a cheap one, I'm going to buy it and read it and it'll be okay. I'm making it more complicated for myself, I know, but you know, it's fine. I just gotta get on with it. So that's the end, guys. I'm going to stop now rambling. Thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.